Good evening, everyone. This is Marcia from Gnoshery Libertas, and you are joining us for Sanctuary, episode 46, on December 12th, 2022. We get together every Monday evening to create a sacred space together. We meet in prayer before the call and connect our hearts, our minds, and our souls into a greater space of awareness where we can start to tap into what I call reality with a capital R, where we begin to see how our inner realms are connecting to maybe some of the more what we might perceive mundane or ordinary occurrences in our lives, but that they actually have a more mystical meaning. And we start to begin to see our life in fractals and patterns and cycles. And we begin to come from a more responsive rather than reactive place, because we are not just seeing life from a linear perspective where we are kind of reacting from our past woundings and trauma. We are instead inviting spirit into our hearts, into the present moment, and allowing spirit to reveal to us what the moment is actually trying to tell us. And of course, that sounds a lot more simple than it actually is to put into practice. And so that's why we gather here every Monday night to create this alchemy so that we can be mirrors for one another. We don't feel as alone out there in the world, particularly if you're a very sensitive person who is kind of feeling a lot of the energies on the planet as shrapnel right now, or just simply just very overstimulating to be alive. So that is the purpose of Sanctuary. It's to get spirit, what I call Holy Spirit or Great Spirit's perspective, the part of God that is the eagle eye, that has the broader view of actually what the purpose and meaning of why some of these challenges and hardships are, both personally and collectively, and allowing spirit to shed that light onto us so that we can then begin to live as that light and from that place. So if you'd like to join us as a live guest, we would love to have you. We also have chats after the recording. So that's kind of where all the more intimate and juicy real talks take place, because that's just a greater space to get to know one another. And in order to do that, you just simply have to check us out on either patreon.com/Gnoshery Libertas, buymeacoffee.com// Cafe, or you can book a session directly through etsy.com/shop/Gnoshery Libertas. So I'm going to take a minute to connect our hearts again so that we can be in the space to receive the transmission from Spirit tonight, which is called The Gig is Up. What does Spirit mean by this energy of the gig is up? Well, it felt multi-layered when it came through, that we are leaving anything or anyone, any situation which is actually not serving the soul, that where we are moving, the soul, the light body is the highest priority. And some of the supporting energies that are coming up this evening is this need to gather our inner resources right now. In fact, I've been joking with some of the people that I work with that it's Shadow December. It's like we are having to confront this overflowing emotional state, as well as this testing of deep waters, this moving into an unknown. And yet, Spirit says there's also celebration and renewal energies within this, that we are novices in a new game, and that we are experiencing a massive rebirth, but it is requiring full confrontation of our shadow, and especially the energy of arrogance and how that's playing out in our personal lives, but also collectively as a human species, and that the sacred trickster is involved here. But when we tune into the wisdom of the divine, and particularly the frequencies of play, that we have the supporting energies to move through what seems like a very challenging time. Because this energy of the gig is up, it came with the lyrics, "Oh, how my grip is loosening on all that's not meant to be." And so once again, Spirit reminding us that we're only losing that which is actually not love. So one of the supporting energies for the evening was gathering courage, and particularly this month of December. And the card came out tilted slightly left, and I even wrote tilted slightly left. And it felt like we're all kind of tilted slightly one way or the other right now, and it's requiring us to actually gather from a different place. We're not able to gather from the outside world and its opinions. We're having to gather our own inner resources. And that's not always very comfortable, having to be your own spine and your own backbone and your own support system. In fact, it often feels, like we're carrying too much. And yet, Spirit encourages that it's purposeful and meaningful, that we are gathering this courage, and it's centering around our deepest emotions and values. As well, we may be experiencing a myriad or an overflow of emotions, or feeling unstable or uncertain about these feelings. And the next piece that came through, Spirit called Pity to Fool, for those of you who are old enough to remember Mr. T. And this fool energy, which is causing us to test waters and make sure that they are not too deep to cross. So there's this feeling, I was talking to someone today about catching the perfect wave, and this feeling that we don't want the wave to just, bowl us over, but at the same time, we don't want to just be like, boop, boop, we really want to like feel like we're riding that wave. And so Spirit is giving us these opportunities to test these unknown waters right now, to make sure that they are not too deep to cross, that we have some situations occurring which could go sideways if they are not approached correctly. And what Spirit means by that is if we're coming from a reactive, egoic place, rather than really tuning into the heart of the moment and asking Spirit, how do you want me to respond to this? And what we are carrying across these deep waters is a bag of truth, and Spirit called it our only possession. And that because of these deep waters, it may be hard to actually follow the playful impulses and our deep desires, because we have so much shadow work at hand. And so we've got this contradictory energy of Spirit encouraging us to play, while the human self is like, what? Like, I'm carrying all this, weight of energetic who knows what. And so that's where this like pity to fool energy came through, of we have the opportunity right now to be the small fool who is getting sucked under the current, or to be the fool with the capital F who understands 0 point and understands that we don't actually understand anything at all. And so when we let go of control, this, oh, how my grip is loosening on all that is not meant to be, that we actually can cross these waters quite effortlessly and even joyfully, because we have this bag of truth and none of this other baggage weighing us down. So while it may be hard to follow these playful impulses or these deep desires with this intense shadow work at hand, we're encouraged to at least be open to it and to notice whether our interior world is feeling very serious or if it's feeling very shy, and to just pay attention to that and to honor that, because we're actually moving through a state of great renewal. And this is a celebration from Spirit's perspective, a place of emergence, which is alive and joyous with happiness and understanding. And the feeling Spirit gave here is that everyone knows why they are here, and there is delight in this realization. And what this line reminded me of is a dream that I had very profoundly, probably almost 15 years ago. And I understand it now to be the bifurcation of worlds, but at the time I didn't really know what Spirit was showing me. But in one part of the dream, people were just walking through the park nonchalantly with their significant others, with their families, just kind of going through the motions. And then all of a sudden, this like great flash of insight happened, and people turned and looked at one another and saw each other truly for the first time. And that was the feeling I got when Spirit said this line: everyone knows why they are here, and there is delight in this realization. It's like we finally get to work together as a heart mind rather than this hive mind that is trying to be put upon us. So this is newfound pleasure and recognizing that we are novices in a new game. This is a fire which is igniting new life, bursting forth with new energy and a rebirth. Spirit referred to it as a new period of activity where fire, creativity, and positive energy emerge. sometimes more energy than we might even know what to do with. So we're very much encouraged to meet ourselves in a spiritual discipline so that it is not difficult to channel, focus, or harness this energy. And lastly, the to end this first part of the gig is up is to notice where we might be experiencing scarcity complexes within us or catastrophe consciousness, where we're getting something and we're immediately looking for the next thing. It's not satisfying enough, or we're not feeling satisfied with the present moment. And we're forgetting to actually respect life and to be in gratitude and appreciation. This is when we are too set on short term goals or our personal gratification and gain, or in just simply achieving what we think we want right now. And this spirit also spoke to this energy as showing off or insisting that one gets one way. So we're just being a caution to notice this energy, to notice if we're being are allowing ourselves to be outwardly influenced by others, and to just notice when this scarcity complex arises. And we're going to talk more about some of these heavier energies that are hitting the planet right now. But I would like to open the floor before I move on to the next energy. One of the more heavier or confrontive energies that we are dealing with right now is that of arrogance. And this is both individually and collectively. And Spirit called this the belief that they only know what is best, or we only know what is best. And the they in this could be any number of things: religions, governments, you know, beings beyond those entities and structures, etc., which are pushing agendas and beliefs onto civilizations and have been doing so for many thousands of years. And Spirit specifically said these are intentions which may seem good, but outcomes which will not be. And for anyone who's been really paying attention right now to some of the things that are going on that are coming out as, you know, things that are going to be wonderful for the planet, but if you're using your spiritual discernment, you're getting that like feeling. Pay attention to that, because right now good intentions are being harnessed for outcomes which will not be. And we're really encouraged to go deep with this with Spirit and ask, what is the motivation for this? Why would, quote, they be doing this? And spiritual discernment is key. And in all capital letters, Spirit had me write, evil plays upon the good intentions of the naive. Go deeper. Do your own research in the outer world and take no opinions other than what comes through your own spiritual discernment. So all of this psychotic, like, psychosis chaos, you know, that's happening to keep people disassociated from their soul blueprint up in the upper chakras, kind of swirling around. We have to understand that evil is playing on the good intention, the good heart of the naive. And we're very much encouraged to keep going deeper, to not accept what we are being shown in the outer realms, that this actually is purposeful so that anyone who is open to it can begin to tap into their spiritual discernment. And in doing so, we cannot concern ourselves with others' opinions or actions. We're encouraged to tend our own garden, because that is what is going to bring us the most peace right now. Humanity must transcend this challenge to evolve as a species. Otherwise, this arrogance will destroy us and allow us to continue to be controlled and enslaved by fourth density beings who are service to self and not service to other. So within this energy, how do we shift this? Well, we're asked, where is this arrogance playing a role in my own life, in my own beliefs, in my own actions? And what are the attempts that I am noticing to control others, whether, you know, we're attempting to control others, or whether where we are seeing that play out in our outer material realms. And is this arrogance affecting us in any area of our lives? And so Spirit reminds us that we teach people how to treat us through our actions and our non-actions, and to take a good, honest look at how this theme of arrogance is playing out personally and collectively, and to take whatever measures are needed to create balance for ourselves from this place of loving kindness. Before I move into the next supporting energy, I'd like to open the floor about anything that might have come through. The sacred trickster enters here, the one who provides detours for our growth and understanding by ensuring that things do not go as planned. How many of us can raise a hand to that? This bringing the energy of divine deception, which sets us free from the shackles of that which does not serve us. We may have heard this as rejection as God's protection. Sometimes it appears we're going to get everything we want, only to find out that the sacred trickster brings us the opposite of what we had hoped for. And the lessons offered by this essence may at first appear confusing, but they are most sacred and always for our highest good. Are we being seduced by something that we desire? Could it be that something of a superficial nature has led us to this moment? Are we compromising ourselves in some way to get this desire? Are we controlling or manipulating others or situations to ensure that our needs are met? And that was something that came up in the last call. Can we just simply have healthy boundaries and ask for our needs without it needing to lead to, drama or chaos or conflict? Because our program is such that we do not ask for what we need as a species until we feel pushed into a corner or taken advantage of. And then often it ends up in an explosive way where no one is really being seen or felt or heard. So we're really encouraged to just notice any controlling or manipulating that we might be doing either consciously or unconsciously. And we can always ask Spirit to please show us graciously where we might be doing these things. So knowing that this sacred trickster energy, this coyote, is howling in the shadows to remind us that this might be a lesson that is too painful to learn if we continue to keep going down this path. We're encouraged to beware the shallow waters right now. So first, Spirit telling us that we're really learning how to cross these deep waters with grace. And we're actually being encouraged to beware the shallow waters. So really staying away from anything that's just gliding along the surface or superficial, because it is not real. Something or someone which is pretending to be deep, but this is not making it so, no matter how beautiful or sparkly it may appear. Spirit says, all that glitters will not turn up gold, no matter how many wishes we may make to change that. The lyrics here, and I'm just left with the truth. So once again, this feeling of the sacred trickster sweeping through, not always comfortably, it always kind of like turns us around and leaves us in a tizzy to some degree, but it's always for our protection, and it's always shining a light and highlighting something that we need to see. It's leaving us once again with only that bag of truth. And so the next energy coming through to support us within this sacred trickster energy is that the wisdom and the power of the divine is always with us. And so once again, this need to gather our inner resources, this need to go within, to contemplate what our true source of power is in the world. And that is of the divine. So we're being called into the well, into this unseen power that is only ours and ours alone to align with God, to invite the divine to bring these miracles and resolutions into our lives, and to say, thy will be done through me for the highest good of all and for the true manifestation of my soul purpose. We will know the way forward through the still small voice within. But first, we have to give it the space so that we can feel it and hear it. The divine answers our calls by sending others to help guide us. So once again, we will not be left alone. And just like these little footprints of snow left us a little path through the woods, we too will be shown, one step at a time, baby steps, the next right action. Before I close out with the final supporting energy of the evening, I'd like to open the floor one more time. The final energy of the evening, Spirit highlighting, is that of play, the frequency of play, that there is a lot of heavy energy, a lot of shadow confrontation that we are being encouraged to confront and integrate and embrace this month. But we're also encouraged to have fun, to celebrate, to not take things too seriously, that our spirit is dying to have some fun. And that the more that we play, the more creative inspiration will follow. So Also being encouraged to do things without being attached to the outcome. And notice anywhere in our lives where we are doing things where we are expecting an outcome, because often that is leading to some suffering. To laugh, that laughter is the best medicine, and to rest, that we need to switch off the mind and give the spirit room to move and to guide and to whisper to us. And once again, doing things without being attached to the outcome so that the ideas, clarity, guidance, and solutions can actually have the space to drop in, because that is where epiphanies take place. Making play this compulsory part of our day, even if it's only for a minute here or 5 minutes there, but actually reminding ourselves to look at the world through the eyes of a child, to say, am I dreaming? And remind ourselves that this is our dream to create, and to spend more time doing the things that we love just because they love us, just because we love them, just because it brings us joy and lights us up inside. And spirit reminding us that when we follow what lights us up, we are then lighting up the world and allowing our spirit to really move in that flow of life, catching those perfect waves. And the last thing here is that a lot of us have been working too hard lately from spirit's perspective, and we're very much encouraged to use this dark time, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, to take a break and to celebrate how far we've come, that this is not the moment to be making new plans or pushing forward in any way that is exhausting, but to really take a step back, to take a deep breath, and to celebrate, how far we've come in the last 3 months, 6 months, a year, and to not rush on to our next thing, to instead take a moment to have some fun. And so, to wrap up this energy for the night, this feeling of the gig being up, and this is not just individually where we are leaving anything or anyone which is not serving us. This is collectively, globally, cosmically, the gig is up. This planet can no longer be run by service to self entities that have no interest in uplifting the human soul or spirit. It will be put back in the hands of the divine, so to speak. And as that is happening, as these revelations are taking place and people are beginning to wake up to greater parts of themselves. And in fact, that one thing that Spirit said about everybody just suddenly knowing why they are here and delighting in that, it comes from us gathering these inner resources, taking this time to build this inner courage, to allow our deepest emotions to come up, to see the light of day, and to know that we're testing deep waters right now, and it's perfectly okay, that is exactly where we are supposed to be, even if it's like, is there something here to hold on to? This is a lot. This is also a celebration and a renewal. And so it's tough to see that from spirit's perspective when we're the one, trying to grasp around for something to hold on to. But when we remember that we are all novices in this new game and that we are being led, we can recognize that this is a rebirth. And yes, it does require some uncomfortable moments of confronting our shadow and probably playing it out in another often times, because that's how the shadow often brings itself to light. But noting where this arrogance is coming up personally, noticing where it's showing up in the world collectively, and through our connection to source, helping to transmute it through our awareness. And when that sacred trickster comes to pay us a visit on our doorstep, to understand that its rejection is God's protection right now. It doesn't mean that this is a forever situation, but it does mean that in this now moment, we are being guided to something deeper. We are being guided to the well, to the wisdom of the divine. And we find that the quickest through the frequencies of gratitude, appreciation, and play. And so the gig is up. And while that can be scary on some levels, it's also incredibly liberating on other levels, that we finally get to step forth in ways that actually honor and assist and support one another and the creatures and beings and life forms on this planet. And so I just want to thank everyone who has gathered here tonight. I appreciate everyone taking this time out of their busy schedules so that we can create this beautiful sacred space, and so that it can also serve us in the week to come. So thank you again, everyone, for being here. We'll take another moment to connect our hearts on the way out, and I will see everybody else after the recording.